Hi and welcome back to the show. This week we have a special guest named Fabrizio Perrone, who's here to talk about influencers, brands, esports, and how web3 technology ties it all together. It's a great show, so let's get to it. Tell us a little bit about Fabrizio.
So I have been always an entrepreneur in my career. So I took my degree in 2007, and after that I have founded a first company that was an agency called Fun Media. That was basically one of the first operating in the influencer marketing space. So at the time we were working, and it was 2008, 2009. We were working with bloggers, basically. We were one of the first agency, I would say, in Europe to, let's say, connect brand to blogs and to, let's say, other channel that so weren't based, let's say, on display advertising and so on. I sold this company in 2013. Because I understood that I want to build something bigger, something that more, let's say, related to technology and also, let's say, scalable. And I went closer to the startup world and ecosystem. And for the first time, I was, let's say, raising external money. I created basically one of the first influencer marketing platform in Europe. So the company was named Bazul. So is named Bazul, and that's actually one of the main player in Europe about influencer marketing data and analytics.
I just wanted to say that I think that there's actually a very long-reaching vision when you talk about introducing influencer marketing back in 2008, 2009, especially when the blogosphere was still a thing, and then migrating over to social media in 2013. I'm curious a little bit about the transition away from advertising, because really what we're talking about here when we talk about influencers is you have traditionally brands that they interact with users through targeted ads, right? Like that's where Google makes all of their money. And Facebook makes most of their money. And then you think, well, that's not going to last forever. What's the next step? And, for a long time, I think influencers were the next step. And I'm not sure what is going on in, the next, say, decade or so. Maybe you tell us a little bit about what your thoughts are there.
You can imagine how much was tricky to go to let's say to the market, to investor, to customer, to brand, to explain why they should, let's say, put money away from display advertising from Google, from Facebook, or from other kind of let's say traditional advertising or digital advertising, to invest in, let's say, real people that were, let's say, talking about specific topics on their blog or even on their, let's say, Facebook profile or Instagram profile. Now it seems really normal, but and it seems like it was, let's say, ever existed. But I can let's say testify that 5-6 years ago, it was really, really difficult to talk to the market about influencer. What's next? Of course, we can just imagine what is going to be in the next decade, but I can imagine that a phenomenon like gaming is going to represent the evolution of social networks. All the gaming platform will be the way brand would be able to reach the new generation, and as well, and it will be a transition to concept and platform that are now known as metaverse, that basically will be a platform where you can live an hybrid experience between let's say real world and virtual world. So I think that this is going to be the evolution of the social network as we know them nowadays.
And how do you think brands will interact within that constellation?
Well, so I think that to let's say to simplify, I think that in 5-10 years or something like that, maybe 10 years is even too much. Let's say the Instagram page or the Facebook page will be replaced by a 3D experience into a hybrid world, and basically, I mean, also with much more adoption and diffusion of AR and VR tools, and like a headset much more available to everyone. We will access to hybrid world with easiness as we have access to social network today. So, and I imagine that you go and you can visit an hybrid place that is, let's say, so let's say the virtual house of that brand, and you can interact with some, let's say, brand avatar, and you can basically have a much more immersive and live experience with brands.
I'd like to go back and talk a little bit more about the stuff that you're working on, because I think that it kind of connects to the stuff that we just talked about. I know that you're involved with a really interesting project called Streeth, which is actually how I found you. I'm really interested in the project that they are putting together. I think it's really unique as a way to connect, the real world to the up and coming digital collectible world. So that's one. And you're working on some other stuff. What else are you working on?
Well, so at the moment, I founded a new startup in 2020 that's basically to watch, that's working on gaming and metaverse experiences. So we have created basically an entertainment channel for Gen Z, where we create entertainment on Twitch and TikTok. We create tournaments. We have our own platform to manage tournament. We have more than 15 talents that we manage in exclusive, and we create metaverse experience on Web2 and Web3 platform. And basically combining all of this stuff, you can create basically a brand entertainment project to basically to allow brands to get in touch with the new generation. Consider that in 18 months, so just on our channel, we collect more than 30 million views per month. And we have created some of the largest projects in terms of players and viewers in so let's say for a casual gamer related to university and school. So we really created. So we really believe that games, it's something that can be used for edutainment, and that's why one of our primary targets are university and schools. Beside of that, as you mentioned, I have invested in some startups, but that's at the moment 10. And one of these is Streeth. That's not the only one working in Web3, but is one of where I really love the concept, because they basically want to connect so the street art with the Web3 and the metaverse. So basically, they are trying to connect the concept of property with something that has not in the real world, that is basically the street art. And thanks to the blockchain and the metaverse, I think that this would be possible. For example, I have been helping them to connect with the UNICEF, as I'm a part of them, because to create a new project where they can mind so an NFT drops related to a street art opera that will be done in Milan to collect money for Ukraine.
I think that there's actually some like interesting conceptual dichotomies there, where you talk about street art graffiti, which is really ownerless. It becomes immediately part of something that's the city. It becomes part of the city. It's not something that the graffiti artist really owns anymore. It's on a wall or on another flat piece that is publicly displayed. It's everybody's at that point. And then when you talk about converting it to something which is tokenized, then you're claiming ownership through the digital sphere in a way that I think was like not really possible before. And I think that that's a really interesting combination of kind of like the old street and the new street.
Yeah, and also it is also a way to let these kind of graffitis to live forever, because usually they are temporary as well. So you can see basically all the graffitis, all the operas that have been made in that place for example, like for years, even when they are not there anymore in the real world.
Are they tagged by location?
Yeah.
That's interesting. So over time, you could actually see which NFTs were associated with a specific spot.
Yes, definitely.
Pretty cool. Let's talk a little bit about esports, because I know that that's something that you're also involved in. Why do you think that esports hasn't become more popular than it is today? Because like it definitely has traction, but I think that it definitely doesn't have as much traction as those of us that work in the industry would like it to have.
I think that there are some region where esport is already massive, like North America, South America, Asia. For sure, in Europe, it's something that it's still not, let's say, so popular, so mainstream. We are starting to see something, but we are still we need to cover a gap for sure. The reason could be, let's say, cultural for sure, as probably Europe has started later in the year because of, so there is lots of passion for specific sport. We are really mad about football or some other kind of entertainment, because I think that the real difference is when this kind of let's say entertainment become mainstream, much more than so the number of player. What means the difference, what makes the difference is the number of viewer. And what we are seeing now with the younger generation, even in Europe, is that esport is really going over everything. So video game, it's basically the most viewed entertainment thing that the newest generation are preferring to see, according to a recent study from Bain, for example, even more than social media. And I think that it's just a matter of time. So Europe is for sure some year behind, but I'm pretty sure that's in terms of entertainment, it's becoming mainstream also in Europe.
So the last question that I wanted to ask you today was, with the potential for on-chain tournaments and winnings, if we're talking about blockchain networks and leveraging them for esports, how do you think that blockchain and NFT technologies can or maybe will impact esports?
Well, I think that it's not just esports, but where they can have an impact with the economy. It's basically, so I think that NFTs, it's really a new form of membership that can be used with and that can be certified by the blockchain, and that can also allow to change the way we use membership, and also to create, let's say, a secondary market for membership. So I think that in the esport industry, there are so many spots, so many way where you create tournaments, you create communities, you create events, and all of these can be related and linked to to let's say a membership, and this membership can be testified by NFT. I think that this will be the main usage that we and the main benefit that we can have for this industry. Aside that, of course, collection that is of course related to the number of fun and the way a team is going to be mainstream, or other kind of game that can be related to let's say fantasy game that can be related to the way a team is going or is winning or losing. I think that the way we can use it, so the best way we can use NFT is to empower a specific community, and of course, esport is one of them.
Deeply agree with everything that you just said. Fabrizio, I wanted to thank you for your time and your expertise. Thanks for coming onto the show. I really appreciate it.